Good evening and a very warm welcome to Trendz Travel. I am Nadia Dambuza and I'm more than delighted to be your host today. We are coming to you from a not so hidden gem in the heart of Johannesburg, Blended Cafe. We are here to keep you company during these cozy autumn nights, so sit back, relax and enjoy. According to the late Hugh Masegola, the train was South Africa's first tragedy. In the popular song Stimela, he expressed the pain of exploited mine workers and the separation and loss of family members who sometimes never returned home from work as a result of death or finding another loved one. The Market Theatre is currently running an exhibition by Brett Rubin titled Stimela, who was fortunate to be Hugh's personal photographer. The late Hugh Masegola is one of South Africa's largest music icons. Throughout his long, fruitful music career, he played a crucial role, echoing the voices of the oppressed and instilling change in society.
I was very lucky to work with Hugh Masegola between 2011 and 2018 when he passed. So most of these images are from that time. I think it was about 2010 or 2011 when Rolling Stone magazine launched in South Africa at the time. The first issue had Hugh on the cover, which somebody else took the photograph. And I ran into Josh in a coffee shop somewhere in Johannesburg, and he had the magazine, and he's like, "What do you think?" And it was really great. You know, but I said to him, you know, I'd love the opportunity to take a portrait of Hugh, and you know, my approach would be very different. It would be more about documenting him rather than like showing like the sort of world icon. You know, I try not to think too much prior to the shoot and work with the person, but I knew about how much Hugh had this huge love for Africa as a continent, not just South Africa, but you know, everywhere, Ghana, Nigeria, you name it, Guinea, Liberia, and I had this idea to show that in a simple way. So that image of Hugh holding his hand to his ear was actually taken backstage in 2014. He was rehearsing backstage in the tent. You can see there's a little bit of a door of the tent there. And somebody came to maybe tell him, like, you know, we're going on in 10. And he didn't hear them, so he put his hand to his ear to ask them to repeat. But for me, that moment was really great because it speaks of a bigger thing, of listening, and you know, and that is something about Hugh, is he listened to people when they spoke. He listened to music of all kinds. He was never just set in one style. He would take on any kind of genre and find something that he enjoyed in it.
Apart from the photos, another part of the exhibition is a depiction of what it was like in the mines. A shovel on the ground. The different colored helmets are in honor of the different people that came from all corners of Africa, their dates of birth and death. Hugh stood in solidarity and fought in his own way. At the bottom is letters. Some of the miners rode home, but the letters never reached their families, and that's what Stimela was about. Hugh influenced the young and the old, and Mandla Mlangeni is one.
I started discovering my love for music once I started playing music, learning music. At my music school in Soweto, was called the Welcome Soweto School of Music, under the guidance of my then teacher Innocent Ungwane. It was then that I picked up the trumpet, and obviously immediately when you pick up the trumpet or start learning the trumpet, you need to learn who the practitioners are, who the masters of the sound are. So it comes as no surprise as my first influence was Louis Armstrong and Hugh Masegola, and then later followed by Wynton Marsalis. And that's how it all started. And I got myself a CD player and all of the likes. But fortunately for me, I was living close to Upra Hot Sticks in Soweto, Pimville. So I got to go to his house, and I brought him some music that I was working on, and he took me under his wing, and we went to a few festivals that he was performing at, and that's where I had the incredible honor of meeting my icon, Hugh Masegola. And from then on, a couple of weeks later, actually, it so happened that he was actually celebrating his 60th birthday. And there was a 60th celebration of his birthday, and he got a choir, and I somehow managed to be part of that choir and got to perform with him. This was back in 2003, and yeah, it was really something back then.
Mandla also shared some wisdom he gained from Hugh.
I mean, how to stick to your guns, I think, musically, to do what you want to do and share your message like that. And particularly, Hugh was the voice of the marginalized and the oppressed in many ways, and his music gave hope to many of the exiled communities, and he shone a light on many of the discrepancies of the time. And I think if he was alive today, he would be sharing the light on the malfunction of our society.
So if we listen to your music, would you say that there's a bit of influence of Hugh, Hotstick's influence in there?
And if you have listened to my music, you'd know that it's very different. And that's what particularly Hugh encouraged me. You don't need another Hugh Masegola. What you need is Mandla Mlangeni to share his stories, to share his experiences. And what we also need is encouragement from the older generation of musicians to also lead the way. And that's what I think Hugh did for us, to shine a light onto our voices. And that's because of him we are here, not for us to be the next Hugh Masegolas, but us to shine the light on our own lives and our own experiences.
Stimela was one of his most popular songs, and unfortunately, during his time of death, he still had a dream of making a music video for it. A young creative by the name of Tabang Lihobe created this animation.
There's a train that comes from Namibia and Malawi. There's a train that comes from Zambia and Zimbabwe.
Legends live forever.
There's a train that comes from Angola and Mozambique.
The coronavirus has brought every sphere of life to its knees, and sport is no exception. So after a year of lockdown, the youth in the Northern Cape picked up their skateboards, polished them up, and reunited at a charity skateboarding event. We were there to capture it all. Enjoy.
Excited to see what this kid has got, the same eyes.
One of Northern Cape's most loved sport revived youth's adventurous spirit at the annual Skate for Hope event. Skaters came prepared, ready to put their A game on full display.
A lot of challenges that our young people are facing in Kimberley are like drugs and gangsterism. There's not a lot of extramural activities to do. So a lot of kids fall into the trap of following bad paths. So this facility, it being a free facility and a very safe facility that welcomes everybody, is a perfect place for the local kids to just come and learn life skills, skateboarding skills, and just basically not just skateboarding, because we also try to teach video filming and photography and art. We also have a couple of art competitions that we host regularly for the local people. So we try to incorporate as many things as we can to keep the kids here besides just skateboarding, because not all of them will be good with their feet, but some of them could be really good behind the camera, or they're good with their hands. So we try to create opportunities around that they can still stay in skateboarding, but they could also do other things.
This annual event aims to bridge the gap between the generational gender inequalities.
It's a bit different for us as female skaters because, as most people might know, this is a male sport, right? So when we're here, we kind of have to compete with the boys in order for us to be noticed and in order for us to actually be able to skate with them.
Yeah. For you? It is different, as Barpela said. For us, So, but the boys here in Kimberley has always been supporting us and helping us learn new things. So it's a good environment to learn.
Skateboarding is like performing, so we need to put a show for you guys. So this is basically performing our art that we're going to show today.
Showing off skating tricks is a vital part of the game, and so is wearing the right skating gear. What's the ideal outfit for a skateboarder? For me to say that one is a skateboarder.
I don't know. There isn't really an ideal outfit. It's really diverse. There are a lot of people that feel comfortable skating with tight pants, and then there are people that feel comfortable skating in loose pants. It's all about comfortability. But with skateboarders, I don't know. Maybe we always have our beanies.
Even in the hot sun.
Yeah, it looks cool. In Kimberley, when it's hot like that, we just wear bucket hats and throw an oversized t-shirt, give you enough room to breathe, some open pants, some shorts, and yeah.
Out of 10, how's my outfit as a female skateboarder? I don't skateboard.
9 out of 10. Yeah, 9 out of 10. You look like if you threw a skateboard at you, you'd kill it. Yeah.
And so they gave me the skateboard, and I did quite the opposite. Adrenaline junkies got their dose of adrenaline, all for a good cause.
We are on social media with the handle @Trendz on SABC. Please do get in touch with us. We would like to hear from you. We'll be right back after this short break. No stranger to local and international audiences, contemporary artist Great Joy Ndlovu is constantly creating work that strikes and moves. Based in South Africa, this Zimbabwean-born artist has made a name for himself worldwide. His works are loved and appreciated by celebrities such as Ava DuVernay, an American-based filmmaker. He continues to mesmerize with his game-changing ability to create visual arts. Currently, he has an interesting collaboration with a homegrown gin and tonic. Let's see.
His work hangs on walls worldwide, exhibiting in local and international art fairs and galleries. Great Joy Ndlovu is a full-time visual artist based in Johannesburg. His current body of work, titled Conversation of Man, is a portrayal of masculinity, identity, and the positivity of a black man.
Hi, welcome to my studio.
Trendz Travel got to hear all about it from the artist himself.
These are works where I express my collaboration with a gin company. So we are kind of like amplifying the idea of owning your crown, you know, because I think it is very important, especially in this 21st century, to celebrate our achievements as young African entrepreneurs, creatives, and all that. So you can see in the work there's so much energy, there's so much movement, you know, there's so much kind of like excitement, you know. It depends on how you see it, but in my own interpretation, it's more about celebrating African kings and queens who are trying their best to make ends meet and advocating for change. I wanted to create like a figurative work which is going to show some form of excitement and some form of wonder, you know. And so I used oils, charcoals, and a bit of oil powder, of gold powder, to capture the essence of glory and energy in the work. This one, you know, it's more of like an energetic piece which goes with an element of duality. So these are like two figures kind of like reaching out to capture, you know, the spirit of success and celebratory moment, which I wanted also in my work to kind of like convey and push the narrative out there. This figurative piece is dual to that other one. So it's actually the same reference, the same model which I used for this piece. So it basically tells the same story as that other one, though the posture is kind of like different from the other piece. But the most important thing is the narrative of success and, you know, the passion and being a conqueror in life.
we also got an exclusive masterclass painting.
In this piece, I'm going to start working on a small drawing, a sketch, so I'm going to capture the essence of movement, so movement and motion at the same time. This is like an interpretation of figurative drawing, right? So you just express, you just express from the reference. You just express from the reference which you will be, manipulating at that particular point in time, So it's like an exaggeration of how you understand, drawing, because at the end of the day, you're not trying to interpret what you call the photograph. You are trying to create art which is unique and authentic. Kind of like enjoyed working on this because of you guys were here, and you kind of like saw the process on how I played around with the drawing, and the painting and all the materials and the mediums. But yeah, so I'm really excited that I've managed to pull out something like this because being an artist, you're like a scientist. You never know the final product, although you have like the idea.
Ndlovu has sold over 100 paintings and is currently working on opening his own local gallery before the end of the year.
Magasfontein is just outside the mining town of Kimberley in the Northern Cape. Now Buleng went to visit the battlefield to find out what happened there during the time of the Anglo-Boer War.
The rich history of Kimberley is not only embedded in its diamonds, but it is archived on the walls of its Victorian-style museums, wartime display, and on the grounds that now remain bare. But if you spend enough time there, you will hear and see events that speak to the Anglo-Boer War.
Kimberley was besieged by the Boers. The Boers surrounded Kimberley and allowed nobody in or out. Magasfontein is critical because the Boers had been fighting the English forces from Hopetown. Hopetown is 120 kilometers from here. So there were little skirmishes, battles all along the way, for example, Belmont and Ensland, and up till Tweerivier, and that is here at Modder River, where the Modder River and the Riet River come together. And all the time, they would be on top of the hills. But when they reached Magasfontein, the Boers did not go on top of the hill, they had their trenches at the bottom. The English took it for granted that the Boers would be on top. And they shot the copy to hell and gone, and not killing any Boers because they were all lying at the bottom. So the morning, as you heard, when the sun rose, the British, still in tight formation, was marching across the open field, and the Boers opened up. So what happened was the Boers had pinned down the British, and the British forces could not then march on Kimberley because they were definitely devastated. They lost almost 400 men here.
This site has become a memorial ground for soldiers who lost their lives here.
In the last years, more and more people are coming to go and find the history of their parents, their great-grandfathers, and that is wonderful to see, that we see that South Africans from always in South Africa are now going to travel. They see travel as a way to enrich themselves, to learn about their own history, and also teach their children that this is a way of really opening one's mind, and of course enjoy everything that you can see. So yes, we have the touristic areas, like the big hall. So yes, it's fun to go in the big mine, and then, but to still keep it at the back of your mind to see all those very people that died there from all the provinces of South Africa.
And not so far from these battlegrounds lies the Library Museum of scholar and struggle icon Saul Blakey.
I guess by now we are all accustomed to and can't imagine a life without hand sanitizers, right? I mean, what were we doing before? We are taking a short break. Stay safe. Welcome back. We are almost at the end of our show, but we still have one more treat. Tala Nature Reserve in KwaZulu-Natal has several wild animals that one can go see. There are also games on offer. The lodge is situated on land that is owned by successful claimants of the land restitution program. Our explorer, Spumelele Zondi, visited the park.
The way one rides around in a Segway, you'd think it's in the city. But nope, it's in the bush. And there are wild animals around.
We have rangers that will escort you and show you where you can go and where you can't, and reasons why you can't, obviously, because they're not going to take you to a rhino on a Segway. Because it means, well, obviously, when you're on a truck, there's a panel. But on a Segway, you're the panel. So they're not going to take you to an animal like a rhino.
Tala Nature Reserve is on what was a successful land claim. The claimants formed a trust called Inkumbuleni before leasing out the land.
The agreement is that they employ the Nkumbuleni community and give back to the community as well. The aim for the community to be involved, to get skills and to get like higher positions, not to be not just to come in as laborers, but to eventually be in management and to eventually be able to run the farm itself.
Here one can see all kinds of antelopes, but that's the boring bit. There are also giraffes, hippos, zebras, rhinos and all sorts.
Unfortunately, we couldn't do the hot air balloon because of the weather, but it was awesome because some of the animals that wouldn't normally be out actually came out, and we got to see rare sightings of hippos.
Camperdown, where Tala is situated, is also a bird watcher's haven. Inside the nature reserve, you see the big ones and the tiny ones that want to enjoy its landscapes, fresh water and serene surroundings.
We're very close to Durban. We're even closer to Pietermaritzburg. You know, you can get from Durban up to Tala and spend an entire day here and back down to Durban before the sun goes down. You know, and I think that's a very special thing for us. You know, Durban KZN is not just known for the sea and the sun. We do have game reserves, and they are quite spectacular.
This is evidently a great example of land redistribution that works, with new landowners managing to successfully lease the land to those who can help them make it profitable.
Over the last few years, it's been run by a few management companies, and it finally has come to a point where Dream Hotels, the Nkumbuleni community and the NEF are directors on the company, so it's part owned by all three.
So for a bit of safari with a twist, a quick getaway to Tala might be what's needed for the wild that is not too far away from the city.
Trust us to bring you what's trending in the world of travel, arts, and of course, fashion. Please don't forget to take care of yourselves and your loved ones during these tough times. It's always a pleasure. I will see you next week.